Are we good? Hello, everyone. We're gonna just wait for a couple of more seconds and then start in the next 30 seconds or so. Okay. I think we can go ahead and get started now. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining today's training, and hopefully you'll have some fun with Vedic mathematics by end of this class. This is just a preview of what this class is about and the format, the lessons that are covered, the logistics, and all of the basic questions, so that you know what this class has to offer. So again, to introduce myself, my name is Sanjay. I'm from San Ramon, California. I work. My full-time job is, of course, I work for Oracle. I'm a computer science engineer in US for more than 20 years, and math is my passion. And so I've put a course together for a couple of years now, and I've been teaching mostly middle schoolers the whole fun and the ancient rich curriculum of Vedic mathematics that's very exciting. So this is just my passion to teach math. So I want to cover a few things for today's quick introduction. Second. So here's what we're gonna cover today. All my classes, the fundamental piece that I really want to focus is, the shloka, because this is part of Vedas. So I try to start my class and take turns, each student, to get really focused and just to cultivate the habit of starting with a shloka. It's just a great practice to get into the mind, and it is very helpful. So we'll talk about that. We'll go through the history and some benefits that I see in Vedic mathematics. So that way, if you're completely new to Vedic mathematics, don't worry. We will cover some of the basics, what it is all about. And you'll hear this word sutras. Sutras is a Vedic term. It is basically, in today's language, you can call it a formula or a word formula. So it's just the rule and the grammar around what Vedic mathematics is all about. So we have 16 sutras, and that's Vedic mathematics for you. It captures everything in those 16 sentences. So the power of it is so much that you'll really appreciate when you try and understand few of. So for today's, I thought I'll pick two sutras which are fairly straightforward, easy to remember and practice. So we'll go through two sutras as a sample, just a quick preview of what the class contains, and then we'll close with the curriculum that this class has, the high level curriculum, and we'll end with last 5 or 10 minutes of Q&A. So that's the plan for today's presentation. So let's go ahead with a basic thing. So I just want to take a minute and see if this timing, let's say you don't know anything about Vedic mathematics, right? By the end of the class, you will know one or two techniques. I would say a science technique is not the right term, but it's part of the science that you learn. So why don't you just grab a piece of paper and pen if you have a handy, or you can quickly take 1 full minute, or I'll just time it, and see if you can solve these 4 problems. And then we will we will go back to this again at the end of the class. Then you'll really be able to appreciate what new method you have learned today. So let's go ahead and do this 4 problems and see if you can time it. I'm going to just start the timer now. And we will resume the presentation at the end of a minute. Okay, I think we're gonna pause here. If you have not done all of the problems, that's fine. So that's pretty much a minute and a 10 seconds timer for you to just see where you are at. And later on, we'll go back to these problems and you'll probably do it in a little bit different method. So that's something to take away from today's presentation, how quickly you can learn this whole fun of Vedic mathematics. All right, so let's get started with Saraswati Shloka. This is the shloka we do at the beginning of each class, and students really like it, and this helps me to get everybody focused and really appreciate the idea behind saying a particular and getting into the discipline of and it just gives a different, and I found a tremendous difference with this towards the end of the classes. So I'll just quickly recite that for everybody's purpose. So Saraswati Namastubhyam Varde Kama Rupini Vidya Arambham Karishami Siddhir Bhautame Sada. So it means I begin my studies, please bless me to get the understanding of this new knowledge. All right, so let's talk about history of Vedic mathematics. So Vedic mathematics is a kind of a term that it's given to the ancient system, a very ancient system of calculations. It came from, it was rediscovered. So it was always there, but it was rediscovered from the Vedas in the time around almost 110 years back, 1911 to 1918. During these 7 years, Swami Krishna Tirtha Maharaj, who lived between 1884 and 1960, he rediscovered all this amazing system of calculations, and that's what we call Vedic mathematics. So he came up with this beautiful book, that I show during the class and go through the details of it. And he based all of his theory in 16 sutras, so the word formulae. Unfortunately, he had written, and the history goes that he wrote around 4 volumes of this whole science. And, it's very unfortunate that 3 of the, almost all his books were stolen, and all of his work just vanished. But fortunately, in the last few years of his life, he was able to rewrite the volume 1, and that's what the work is left behind. His book of Vedic mathematics that he was able to rewrite from, and he could not write all of it again. So that's some of the history. You can find a lot about it on Google and read about how much of interesting work was taken away. Okay, so next we'll go through some benefits that you should expect out of Vedic mathematics. Real quickly, at the very high, high level, what is it that you're gonna get? You're gonna get to calculate things very fast. Conventional method has its own pros and cons. It's very methodical, and it has its own advantages. It has evolved through, but Vedic mathematics is very different. It has the speed is kind of the major fun or the benefit that you get out of Vedic. It provides a single line method, a super fast method, along with the quick cross-checking systems. It increases your concentration, it improves your confidence. That's the thing. So at the end of the class, or once you know this rules and method and the whole science, it's in fact a science. It's not I would hate to call it like a speed mathematics that people generally brand it and try to market. It's not that. It's a rich science that was hidden in our Vedas, that was documented by this Swamiji, and we are learning part of it to use it in our academics, or in just calculations. So if you have some fear of learning mathematics, you'll be amazed that you will find this very interesting, very logical, and you will love math. I found a lot of people, students just didn't want to do the multiplication, but when you know the multiplication is not that difficult, and you can really do that in your mind, it just builds an interest, and so it's the tedious subject becomes a blissful experience. It's fun. I want to make sure that math should not be a stressful subject. It has to be the most fun subject, just like playing. Improves your overall abilities. It helps you in the logical thinking of method of doing your mathematical problems. Okay. So again, as I mentioned before, it is a set of 16 sutras or word formulae. Their color is there are like 16 sutras and 16 sub-sutras around that. Okay, so this is the whole. This is all about Vedic mathematics. So everything that you learn Vedic mathematics is around these 16 sutras, and the ones that I have marked here in star, these are the 6 sutras that I picked for the middle school level, and for the age group is easy to start with. And of course, there is a whole lot you can in fact learn, a whole science of calculus and trigonometry and algebra. There's a whole lot to offer, but we are just doing a basics of this first 6 sutras that I found is a very good start for students. Once they really like this, and if this builds a good foundation, they can learn more sutras and get very proficient in this whole mathematics, which is very original, which is it's very interesting, because you'll be able to do a lot of it in your mind. You don't need and then you'll be very confident with the answer, because the steps involved are very straightforward and very cohesive. Like, you can repeat it, you can do left to right, you can do the same problem from right to left, and there are more than one ways of getting the answer. So it's very interesting for sure. Okay, so these are the 6 sutras that we will be covering through the class, through the first 15 classes. So this is kind of the beginner intermediate level of, and this does not require you to know anything about Vedic mathematics at all. If you just know multiplication from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, that's probably bareness requirement. So people from 2nd grade onwards have really picked this up really well, because there's a lot of the more higher, like if I teach this course to high schoolers, there's a lot of unlearning that happens. But if you pick this subject at an early age, then there's lots of confusion, and you will really prefer this method before you learn the complex method that conventional math teaches you. Okay, so let's move on, and I have picked 2 sutras to discuss for today, and I want to teach this so that when you finish this exercise, you'll be able to learn something new one new method of doing your problems, and you can try it out and have fun with it. So the first sutra that I would like to share today is called Ekadikena Purvena. So what's the literal meaning of this? The literal meaning is by one more than the previous one. Okay, so the typical use of this sutra is for complementary numbers, like any number that ends with 5 and you want to square it, like for example 15 square, 25 square, or a 35 square, something like that. um, this is a very this is the sutra that you would use. Okay, so let's take an example so that it kind of illustrates how you want to use it. So I've picked the example of 65 square. For example, if you want to do 65 times 65, right, that's 65 square. So here what you see on the left side, 6, and the right side, the previous digit is 6 and the last digit is 5. So you take the previous digit and multiply it with one more. That's the rule that we just learned, right? One more than the previous one. So in this case, previous one is 6 and you add one more. So you multiply 6 times 7, and that's how you get the left hand side of the answer, which is 42. On the right side, it is 5 times 5, so you get 25. And you combine both of them, so their answer is 42, 25. So just to recap, 6 times 7 is your left side, and the right side is always 25. 5 squared is 25. So answer is 42, 25, right? So 65 square, you don't need a paper and pen. You can just quickly visualize, take the first number, multiply it with one more, and there you go. So you can do, you can try it out. You can do 25 square. 25 square is 2 times 3 is your first digit 6, and the last two parts are 25. So 625 is your answer, right? So it's like just a couple of seconds, right? So let's do one more and see how you want to do 95 square. So 95 square will be 9 times 10 because it's one more, right? 9 and 9 plus 1 is 10. So 9 times 10 will be 90 on the left side, and the right side is always 25. So 95 square is, you just at a blink of an eye, you can just quickly say it's 9025. Yeah. So that's one of the very small example where you can just do this kind of math very, very simply, because that rule is there, right? Ekadikena Purvena is the rule behind, or the sutra behind, this particular calculation. So 9025. So that's the quick preview of what one of the sutras is. Now let's try something little bit complex than this. The second sutra that I had picked today is Nikhilam Navatasharmam Dashataha. So this is Sanskrit, of course, but you really need to know the meaning, what it means, it translates to. So this sutra means all from 9 and the last one from 10. That's the meaning of it. So the sutra can be applied in multiplication of numbers which are near to base, like 10, 100, 1000, things like that. So anything to the power of 10. Suppose you come across a multiplication very close to 100, like 96 times 97, or 105 times 102, things like that, which is very close to 100 or 10. So I'll take a few examples so that you really get the gist of it. Okay, so the rules of this method is you crosswise and add or subtract, and vertically you multiply. Don't worry if you don't get the details of it. Once you see an example, you'll kind of get the idea behind this. So I've taken an example of 14 and 12. Now the base here is 10, right? This is a base, 10, 100, 1000. So this is the closest base to this is 10. So first thing you will do is you write these two numbers. You know what the base is. 14 and 12. Okay, simple. Then, okay, so find out how much extra is 14 compared to the base. So 14 is nothing but plus 4. Because it is 4 more than the base, I have written it plus 4. If it was 9, I would write -1, right? So if it is plus 4, so for 12, it is +2. So those are the two numbers you will write on the right side for solving this problem. Okay, so far so good. Um, let's see. So the first thing you will do on the right side is crosswise, now vertically, yeah, crosswise add or subtract, and vertically you multiply. So 4 and 2 you will multiply and you will get 8. So hope this is clear so far. This is the vertical aspect of it. And then the crosswise, so the right side answer is 8. On the left side, you will simply add either of them. You will either do 14 plus 2 or 12 plus 4, whichever is both are same. So 14 plus 2 or 12 plus 4 is 16. So on the left side, you'll get the answer of 116. So 14 times 12, of course, this, you can do with the conventional method too, but this is something that you can just, do it in your mind, and you can quickly put this answer together as 168. So this is one of the example of a 2-digit multiplication okay, so let's do one more example, and then you can get a gist of it. So this is how you got 14 times 12. Little bit different, but let's do a little bit more complex, like 103 times 102. Here, what are we doing? Here, same thing. The base here has changed to 100. So 103, you should, we have to write that as +3 because it is 3 more than the base, and 102 is +2. So it's very straightforward. Now the right side is 3 times 2, 6. Because the base is 100, it has 2 zeros, we have to write the answer in 2 digits. So that's one of the laws is, you will just not write 6, you'll write 06 because we're talking about base of 100. If it was base of 10, you'll just write 6. So that is 06 on that side. And then the other is 103, you add to 2, or you do crosswise, 102 plus 3, both are same. So you will get 105 on the left side. So the answer 103 times 102 is 10506, right? You slowly, if you know this method, you can very well visualize this kind of problems, and you can quickly just write the answer. You don't need the intermediate method. So if you do with a conventional method, you will probably do 3 steps, like 103 times 102. You will do multiply by 2 first, then you write 2 plus plus with for the 0, and then again 103, and then you add it. So there is at least 4 steps involved, right? So here it's just a matter of in a single step you are able to apply the sutra and get the answer very quickly. So let's move on. We have another 10 minutes. I want to quickly go through the curriculum to give you a big picture of what the class is about. So initially we'll talk about quick addition, subtraction, very simple. But the major focus, so 70% of this class is getting really good at multiplication. So we work with complementary numbers. There is a specific rule for numbers that are all 9s. Numbers above the base, below the base. Multiplication by 11 has a very specific sutra, which is very easy. So you'll be able to do any multiplication by 11 just very, very quickly. You'll be 12 also has a very interesting sutra to follow. Then again, nines have a very special place. Multiplication of 9s and patterns of 9s is the part B. So then we get into complex multiplication, like we did now, above the base, combination of below the base, and we go into 3-digit and 4-digit numbers of multiplication. And the last 1 or 2 classes is around squares, which you already learned today, square roots, cubes, and things like that. And then I try to put 1 or 2 more exciting lessons towards the end for people who are interested and who are way ahead of the class. There's some extra bonus material for them to try out in case they are able to catch up with all the 15 chapters. And in between, every 4 or 5 classes, I have kind of reevaluation just to see how we are doing with the timing, because that's why I gave those 4 problems in the beginning. so that when you implement this method and you redo those problems with a method that you have learned, you can really appreciate, oh, I was able to do that in 1 minute, and now after knowing these new techniques or new science, you are able to do the same problems in at least 50% of the time. Majority of the time, it's at least, you get an advantage of half the time you'll be able to do those problems. So that's the overall curriculum. um, so now I'm bringing up these problems that we started with, right? And now you can start your own timer, and just redo some of these problems with using Vedic mathematics. Don't do it the conventional method, and I'll guide you through the process. I know you're learning this for the first time, if at all you've never heard about. So 35 times 35, what you'll do here is it's simply 5 times 525 on the right side, and the first will be 3 times 4, so it will be 1225, right? It's just, you can just straight away write the answer. It probably took you 10 seconds to do that. 85 square will be 8 times more, 1 more, which is 9. 8 times 9 is 72, so it will be 7225. 13 times 12, so that's the second sutra we're going to use. 13 is nothing but 10 plus 3. 12 is nothing but 10, so you write plus 3 plus 2. So on the right side it will be 3 times 2 is 6, and then you will 13, and you will add 2 to it, so it will be over 15. So 150 is 156. Of course, you can do it on the paper and see the difference. Same, 102 times 108, it will be 16 on the other side, and 102 plus 8 will be 110. So these are the answers in case you want to check your answers, uh, how it was done. And if you want to correct your answers, these are your 4 answers. And then I tried to do this with some students, and I found that they were taking way less than a minute for these 4 problems once you know the method. Before this method was taught, obviously it varied between a minute 30 seconds to 2 minutes, but sometimes you'll find something wrong because there is a addition involved, so there's a lot of room to fail, to make errors in the conventional method. But here it's much more richer science. You can correct your answers different methods. So I know we are very close to 4 o'clock, so I'm going to end here with a slide open if you want to. I'm going to show how to send questions if you still have some follow-up, and then we can get into the Q&A. So let me stop the share and then quickly show you. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to share was, how do you ask more questions? So if you go to talentnook.com, you'll get to this page, and all you do is just type Vedic math, or you can type Sanjay as well. I tried that as well. You'll get to this page, Vedic math summer program. You go to the details to request, and you'll get everything, the details about, so I have some self evaluations, and then what chapters are covered. And then if you want to request contact, this is how you will contact, and these are the links that you will ask for more questions. So with that, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. We are exactly at 4 o'clock. So if you have questions, I think you may want to type it in your chat, and let's see if I can answer some of that. Okay. Okay, Ian Agarwal, I think there's some hand
A
raised.
quick question would be, what is the typical age group for this class?
Oh, sure. That's a good question. In fact, the age group that I'm planning to, and I've done these classes, is the middle schoolers, 8 to 11. And that's the kind of the age group that has worked very well. But there is no, if if somebody from 6 year old has very good passion for math, they can pick it up much better actually. Basically, passion for math, and anybody who wants to learn this science. Of course, I'm not covering material of calculus or trigonometry, which is more of high school, and those are advanced topics. But the topics that this particular summer program covers is for middle schoolers. Yeah. Any other questions? Let's see.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So I really liked what you showed right now. But I actually have a another query about the middle schoolers. So 8 to 11 is based on the grades 8 to 11, or is it age 8 to 11? Because 8 to 11 I think would be elementary school, right? So I wasn't sure about that. I got the invite from Talent Nook saying that it was 8 to 11-year-olds.
Correct. You're right. 8 to 11-year-old elementary. Yeah, I mean, okay. I think so. What age group you are thinking?
My daughter is in the ninth now. A lot is 9 years old, so she's
9 years
going
old,
to the fourth grade.
fourth grade.
So a lot of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and stuff she's comfortable with. So currently, what you taught, the two sutras, her comfort level was pretty good with it.
Okay.
But when it comes to cubing, squaring, I mean, some aspects she has already been introduced to, but it might be at the very basic elementary level. So I'm not sure whether if she's in the right age group.
Yes. I'm pretty sure fourth, fifth, sixth is just fine. I mean, or I can just share what I did. I offered this class twice already, and I found I had even second graders, third graders also, and I had even most of the students were fourth grade and fifth grade. Some at seventh grade because they love math and they wanted to learn about it. So even if they know addition, subtraction, multiplication really well, uh, you want to take this as an alternative way, and much faster way. So what happens is if the students know two methods, it is very helpful, especially in exams like SAT and ACT, where you have multiple choice questions. You want to really correct it. And I found my son, I thought this already. That is kind of the best part, is they can verify the answers using the alternative method. Know one method, then you don't know whether it's right or wrong. So whenever you know two methods, it's easy to verify, because both methods cannot, if both methods give the right answer. So yeah, for fourth grade, fifth grade is just fine. They will pick all the material that this class covers.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And also, quick question here, just to how, in your experience, has it ever caused a scramble? Where people are trying to learn Common Core and then they're trying to coexist with Vedic math. I mean, personally, I don't. I'm here because I'm very interested in it. But have you ever found people getting confused between the two, having conflicts?
There is definitely, because yeah, you're right. I mean, it is. That's why I have a little bit more challenging for students who are like eighth and ninth grade, because they're so used to the conventional method, and they have the luxury to even use the calculator. So it becomes very challenging, but because there is a lot of unlearning process that happens. But here, I take this as a richer method of doing mathematics, right? So they need to have that open mind of, you want to learn an alternative. It's just like learning another language. So you want to take this as a great tool set in your skills, that you know more than one method of doing math, and slowly you will appreciate that this you can really do in your mind. you can visualize, you can really have fun with the numbers. So I liked when the kids, it's a transition. uh, if they're open to learn this as an extra tool set on top of what they know, they don't have to kind of, because your academics have a rich curriculum and they demand a particular sequence, and you'll be amazed to know that this is actually a curriculum in UK. They teach 2 years of Vedic mathematics as part of curriculum in early years for their school. So the school has adopted this as a much richer method that they should know at early age. So,
So
so
what we lost in India, they gained in UK.
UK, yeah, UK is amazingly ahead of us. Sad to say that, but they have really adopted to this. You can Google for no, Kenneth Williams. He has done amazing work. He has provided resources for all the teachers, and he has really taken it to the next level of actually teaching Vedic mathematics to the students. But very
Thank you.
popular. Okay, yeah. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I have 3 more questions. I think, yeah, we can go a little more. I'm okay if you have to extend.
Hi, this is Mona.
Hi, Mona. Hey.
Just first of all, it was very, very good session so far, what you taught. My kids enjoyed too. So my question to you, I understood that you already mentioned that this summer class, what you're right now mentioning, is for age group of 8 to 11 or 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if I wanted to do for my middle schooler? He's going to be in 8th grade. Or like,
I can fairly say, because the basics of Vedic mathematics, no matter when you start, right? It's a new science. It's like you can learn. Just think about it as you want to pick a new language, right? There's nothing
right.
a middle school or high school. You can start anytime. I know, but I'm learning Spanish now, so it gets little challenging.
Uh-huh.
But I had one 7th grader along with all the elementary people because he just loved math.
Right.
I would say at least 60 to 70% of the material is very very tailored to get the basics. So my goal here is to get them excited about Vedic math, so that once they know this 6 7 sutras and they have this then they can pick by themselves. The next few sutras, it's this book is so good. They should be able to pick it up, and by the time they learn calculus, and if they keep a practice of doing this, I just forgot to mention one more point. Probably I'll take this opportunity that this course demands at least a 30-minute practice per day to get the best of it. You cannot just attend a class and expect, unless you're really really good at math. It's a different scenario. But this course will each class of Vedic mathematics has a 50 problems that I try to give them, and I use Google Classroom and Meet, so I can keep track of who is on top of it. So that's how I use the feedback, is if they are doing the exercises and regularly, then I know they're on top of it. So definitely expect a commitment of at least doing around 20 to 25 problems in between the classes, between the 2 classes, and come back, because it can get only better with practice. So if you don't do Vedic mathematics for 6 months, you'll probably lose. It'll be easy to relearn, but it's just like language. If you don't use it, you lose it. So yeah. So 8th grader is fine. I mean, but definitely try some resources. See how the subject interests, and you can. Yeah,
I mean, I'm honestly speaking, one thing I can tell you that those 2 sutras you just taught, I mean, honestly speaking, he's not a big math fan, but he likes it, the way it came up. And it's pretty interesting for him. And that's the reason for me to attend this webinar and show him that, do you like it, kind of question. And I mean, this is relieving that you were telling that any age is fine to learn this method.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, I just like to keep it, with an open mind, and who can just offer 30 minutes of practice on a day-to-day basis. They can pick 4 or 5 sutras by the end of this. Picking the others is not difficult at all. In fact, he can go next level and learn trigonometry and algebra, like simultaneous equations, and those are some extra topics that we can discuss towards the end. So here's what I can say: if he gets through these 15 classes and gets the 6 sutras really well, uh, he can pick it up on his own. The next set of sutras, he doesn't need a teacher later.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 more questions and then we can wrap it up.
When is the next class, or do you have to book it?
I think that question is for Talent Nook. So I suggest you go to this particular link, or I just showed you the talentnook.com, and you request. All the details are over there.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I think I just showed that. But if you are still on the screen, if you Talent Nook, yeah, just go in here and type Vedic Math. And click on this. It tells you yeah, 8th July till 9th August on Wednesdays and Sundays, and you have all the details on this page. All right, I hope I answered that question. Okay, I'm gonna just give it another minute or so before we wrap it up. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and we'll go through those. Okay, probably keep it on for another minute and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see if there's anything on the chat. Okay, I think there are a few questions on the chat. If okay, I'll go through these questions. Hopefully, Ruchi and I just saw this chat question. Sorry. How do you make it fun during the classes? Very nice question. The first one is I kind of limit it to very interactive. So the format of my class is the first half an hour to 30 to 40 minutes is the theory. We do one sutra every time. Not one sutra, one method. A couple of methods may use the same sutra. So it's either, multiplication or division or square and things like that. So we understand that method, that you learn 2 methods today, 2 techniques. So we understand that, and then I give some interactive problems. Have each one of them solve it and help either, and make sure I try to get at least one problem done from each of the student. And then there is a Q&A at the end of it. We discuss fun facts and little outside math, what they have learned interesting. So it's a very interactive class. 50% of it is theory, 50% of it is kind of hands-on, more of puzzles and things like that. In the end, we do have puzzles, and there's something that they take away. And of course, somebody who is really passionate will do all 50 problems, but I expect them to do at least 25 every time. But there is enough challenges for the rest of the, yeah, so that's the fun part. Obviously, now Google Classroom, we have quiz, periodic quizzes. In fact, in the last session that I had, the students created the quiz themselves with the answers to challenge each other. So that was one of the fun activities we could do. Can 5th graders do these programs? Yeah, very much. There's no such age group, but just to keep the crowd in a similar mindset, and I like to keep it in particular age group, but adults can pick it up as well. Actually, there's nothing stopping them to learn this. Can we leave? Yes, very much. Do you have any programs for incoming 9th grader? I think I did answer that already. ninth grader can also take it, but maybe in future I can do more of um, I haven't thought about that yet, but I'll have to develop a new course for more of algebra and more of simultaneous equations kind of topics, which are more for high schoolers. But ninth grader, this basic beginner course will be a prerequisite. Unless you know these 6 sutras, it's very difficult to catch up with the remaining sutras. So I would strongly encourage to get up to speed with all this material before you get onto the advanced topics. Okay, I think let's see if there is anything more. If you have any questions, just put it in the chat, or else you can always reach out to Talent Nook for something which we didn't cover today. So I think with that, if there are no more questions, I will wrap it up here. And thank you everyone for taking your time today to know more about this class, and really appreciate this opportunity. Thanks Talent Nook, and I look forward to share this really rich science that we should all be proud about. Thank you. Bye bye everyone.